Was quite an individual. He had tremendous life experiences, everything from motorcycle racing to playing tricks on people over in Europe and Asia. But first and foremost, he was a guy. He was a great friend to all of us, and he was a great icon to the industry, helping countless companies, including mine, grow their businesses. I would not have the business I have today if it weren't for a lot of the wisdom and things that I learned from Kevin. There's Kevin and his lovely wife, Lorraine, who's seated up with us. She came in from Phoenix, Arizona to see all of you folks. She's going to come up here and say hello in a couple moments. Kevin was the founder of Aspire Software. And Aspire Software is the #1 software that landscaping companies use to run their businesses. And here's a mind-boggling statistic for you. Over $5 billion worth of revenue is now run through Aspire Software. So it's making a tremendous impact. It's what we use at Grundy Landscaping Company, and it is even at certain universities across the country to use as a teaching tool, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. There's Kevin with his daughter Julia, one of the great blessings that he had in life. There's Kevin and I at a dinner that we had shortly, not too much before he passed away in Phoenix. Kevin would light up any room that he came into. He was a very intense individual that loved solutions. He loved helping you get through problems. And Kevin lived a life, ladies and gentlemen, that was really part miracle. He, I think, dealt with cancer for approximately 8 years. He never led with that. At one point, he was really, really sick, and I didn't even know that. Kevin just kept on fighting and would do what he could to fight. So he was part miracle, part inspiration, and he was part grit. He was a guy that got by on grit. He did things. He didn't let things shut him down. Even cancer didn't get Kevin. And he was just a wonderful gift for all of us, and those of us in the room that knew him well. This video that I'm going to show you, and then we're going to break for lunch. The format is, before I show you the video, and then we'll just let that go right into lunch. We'll go table by table, and we've got a great buffet lunch. Come back, start your conversations. Facilitators may be asking you questions about what you do. There may be something that you want to know from them. Talk. This is the kind of situation that many of you are going to be going into in an interview situation, where you're going to be in an uncomfortable situation. All this stuff is good. My son is 23 years old, and I encouraged him before he left for Chicago. He's working up there, but the summer before he graduated from college and he was home one last time, for 7 straight weeks, twice a week, we went out to dinner with a leader that I knew, and he didn't like it at first, okay? Other than the good dinner I was feeding him, he really didn't like it. But after 14 visits with local Daytonian leaders, he said, "Dad, thanks." He's like, "I see why you had me do that." So that's why we're doing this. This was Kevin's vision, that we carry this on forever. And as long as I'm around, you're going to see me here every year, fulfilling his wish, trying to help all of you. So let's learn a little bit more about the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Kehoe.
This year's National Association of Landscape Professionals 2022 Lifetime Leadership Award recipient has impacted the lives of thousands of landscape professionals and helped many build successful companies. Getting his start nearly 40 years ago as a business consultant to the landscape industry, his first speaking role was with NALP's legacy organization 30 years ago. Since then, he's consulted for more than 300 companies and recently founded Aspire Software, which was sold less than a decade later for $200 million. Consultant, entrepreneur, and also a writer, he recently released his book, One Hit Wonder, which shares his wisdom about business, life, and battling cancer. With a career built on strong relationships, listening, learning, taking risks, and being a mentor to hundreds in the industry, he is no one-hit wonder. As he says in his book, it is your entire lifetime body of work that sets you up for that one big success. Now focused on giving back to the next generation through the Kevin Kehoe Family Foundation, the National Association of Landscape Professionals is proud to present its 2022 Lifetime Leadership Award to Kevin Kehoe.
And I'd like to have Lorraine come up and say a couple words. Lorraine? Thank you.
So I just want to thank Marty and Pamela for making this possible. This is a dream Kevin had. unfortunately, he was never able to take part of the planning because he got drastically ill. He battled for 8 years, and we were convinced he was gonna make it. We really were, up until the very end. Even the day before he died, he's like, okay, we gotta get back on the program. We gotta talk to the doctors. So he never gave up. And I'm here unabashedly to promote his book. My goal in life is to get everyone to hear about my husband. He was an amazing man. As Marty said, most of the people that were his clients were also his friends. He would take me when he'd go visit them. I would come along because he's like, oh no, these are great people. We'd vacation with everyone in the landscape community. And he originally didn't start just doing landscape. He had other companies. He had Yamaha, Nissan, but all of a sudden he just decided he loved the landscape people. He loved working with them. He loved the companies. And his goal was to make everyone successful. So I encourage you to read his book because it's got life lessons and everyone needs lessons. And he would have loved to have been here. He loved kids. He loved teaching. He just really loved life. And even though he got sick, we sat down and he said, well, you gotta get busy living or get busy dying. So we continued to, as long as we could, vacation. We moved a state, we bought a new home, and he got diagnosed 2 months after he started Aspire. But every day he would get up, he would force himself to get up, and he said, every day I choose life and I choose happiness. So it's a choice. So that's why after he died, I was devastated. But I decided to honor my husband by choosing happiness. So I've decided to go on with life, and I'm my happiest when I'm talking about my husband. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. And please, I encourage you to read his book. It's a fast read, it's funny, a little sad, but he was a great guy. And I just want everyone to know how wonderful he was. And just how generous he was too, because when he sold the company, he immediately put $20 million in a foundation and said, okay, we need to pay back. And this is one of the more important ones to pay back to, because this is how he made his money, was the landscape community. So I will never forget the landscape community, and I will keep supporting this foundation to do the work that they're doing and reaching out to you guys, because you're our future. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.